Howdy y'all, this is Big Country with Big Country Survival, and we're going to be talking about training, up in the ante. And before I get into the training and what I'm talking about, you should be training. Now, I'm not going to say what to train, how to train, what your method should be, what you should be training for. I'm not going to get into that. I'm going to give some examples, and I'm going to say this. Most of my knowledge of training effectively was from my time in the military. By the same token, most of my knowledge of how to ineffectively train, also military. I'm not going to get into that. Death by PowerPoint. Any of my fellow vets, you could probably relate to death by PowerPoint. But anyway, so how to effectively train. I'm going to use an example. My example is going to be first aid. First aid, everyone on ship is qualified in basic first aid. You can render basic first aid. You are trained in a sort of a classroom hands-on setting how to perform first aid. Things like CPR. I mean, you learn this stuff. You're basic first aid qualified, right? You've got a CPR card, that says, okay, from the American Red Cross. It says that, okay, you're authorized to give CPR, right? Things like that. Now, that was training. Then we would run drills. And you'd have somebody with a fake injury on, for example, their arm. Say they had this piece of rubber on their arm that was made to look like an actual, injury. And it's like, say, big hole in their arm, bone sticking out. And they'd come in, grasping their arm in pain and then, help me, help me, help me. Screaming and hollering and all of that. Right? And I used to get into that. I wanted to be the dummy. I really did, because I wanted to yell and scream and holler, and I wanted to make it as difficult as I could for these guys. And here's why. If they can't handle when they know that I'm not going to die, right? This isn't real. This is training. And if they can't handle patching up my fake wound with me screaming and hollering and yelling and cussing them and calling them everything under the sun, like I'm in so much pain. If they can't handle that, how are they going to handle saving my life if I actually did get injured? Not very well, most likely. If you can't handle that kind of stuff now, what are the chances that you're going to handle it when it counts? Same thing with, casualty, damage control, which is things like fire and flooding and, that kind of stuff, right? If you can't handle me yelling and hollering and getting amped up and revved up and all of that, if you can't handle that, if you can't handle there being, fake smoke to simulate a fire, even though their fake smoke is not what real, what a real smoky environment in a ship or in a house for that matter would look like. It's more of the, smoke machines, the fog machines like you get at rock concerts. But it's better than nothing. If you can't handle that, you're not going to be able to handle it being so pitch black that you can't see a foot in front of you. If you can't handle that, you're not going to be able to handle when you know you are out at sea and this is on fire. And if you do not contain this, you are all potentially going to die. right? You have to contain this or you will die. You know, when when it really hits the fan, if you can't handle that stress in training, you're not going to be able to handle the real thing. And I saw that. I saw that when it really went down, and these people, they couldn't handle it. You know, so you just push by them and keep going, right? But you need to be able to handle that stuff, especially in a smaller group, because it's not like it was on ship with me. You know, there was enough of us, for the most part, especially when we were underway and everybody was on ship. There was enough of us that if something really happened, you know, there was enough of us that we were in the same zone. There was enough of us we could get the job done. If it ever actually came down to those people, well, or you know, I'm probably dead. The rest of us are probably dead, and okay, my troubles are over. I will say this: the majority of the people that I served with, they were in the zone. All right, but you know, there were some that were not. You know, people that slipped through the cracks and really had no business being in the military. And, you know, they probably were just in the military to get their college paid for. And then, you know, they just wanted like a 9-to-5 job. But, man, it ain't like that. No, it ain't like that. But yeah. Another thing we would do, when in your first 24 hours of getting to the ship, at least this is how my last command handled it. I think it's policy now. Within your first 24 hours, you are required to to escape from your berthing, which you know, some guys call it you know, barracks. You know, basically sleeping quarters, right? Big room. You're packed in there like sardines, right? That kind of stuff. Anyway, you would have to make it from your rack, that would be your bed, to the weather decks outside of the ship. You were timed. You had a very short amount of time to do it, and you were blindfolded. And you had to do this within your first 24 hours being on ship. It's a safety thing, right? So I'm assuming most people have run a fire drill. You have run a fire drill in your home or in school. You should run a fire drill every now and again in your home. Anyway, but if you haven't done it there, you've at least done it when you were in school. Have you tried it blindfolded? Because that would be more realistic. Have you tried it crawling? Because that's how you're supposed to do it. Have you tried it with your main exit? With your main exit being on fire, you know, door, you know, you put your hand across the door. Don't grab the doorknob. Don't, you know, you put your hand along the door. Get close. You don't want to touch the door because it might be hot and you might burn yourself, right? But have you done that? Have you trained with it in that respect? With your main exit being blocked off? Have you tried it blindfolded with your main exit being blocked off? I'm not saying you have to. It's just some stuff to think about. Because what we find ourselves doing is we get stagnant. even those of us, those that train, we get stagnant. We get comfortable in what we know and what we can do. And we don't try and push the limits of what we know and what we can do. We don't go through these scenarios. You do a fire escape, a fire drill, you always go out the same exact spot, the same exact way. That's something that they did in schools, right? You get up and you go out of the classroom and, maybe someone turns the lights off or something, and then you walk down the same hallway, out the same row of doors, and meet up at the same spot. Now, the meeting up at the same spot's a good thing, right? That should be something you train. But going the same route, that route might be blocked off. That route might be on fire. Now, what are you going to do? All right. Anyway, just some stuff to think about. You should be up in your stress level. Even if that's, maybe doing something to get the blood flowing before you do something. Maybe some push-ups or sit-ups or something to get the blood pumping. You should be doing something like that. Put a time on yourself, time yourself, and try and beat that time on whatever it is you're training. Just do things to kind of keep yourself being pushed, to deal with stress. Try and put yourself under some stress while you're training. Anyway, that's all I've got for today. I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, you like this video, go ahead and hit that thumbs up button. If you're not already subscribed, go ahead and hit that subscribe button if you want to see more stuff like this. Also, anybody who has any ideas, if you've made it this far, thank you, by the way. But anyone who has any ideas for ways to up the ante in your training, I would love to hear what they are in the comment section below. Till next time, this was Big Country with Big Country Survival. I'm signing out. God bless.